Welcome to the metaverse. For decades, it's been the stuff of science fiction. Entire virtual worlds. They're not just video games, metaverses are different. Facebook is testing its own metaverse called Horizon, hoping one day friends won't scroll but instead hang out in VR. And Epic, the owners of Fortnite, have been able to get their players to stop shooting each other for an evening and instead go to events like virtual concerts, dance parties, even short film festivals.
You'll start to see more and more bands and singers and celebrities entering these spaces, trying to find kind of new avenues and new ways to connect with their audience.
Epic Games has since raised $1 billion in funding, including $200 million from Sony to take its metaverse ambitions further. But walking around some of these smaller metaverses where people are spending big on real estate, it's hard not to notice that it feels a little empty.
The reality is that we're pioneers, right? All of us that are in these worlds, spending some time in here, we're pioneering. So, just like in the pioneer times, there weren't a lot of people around. I think it's the same situation, but as things progress, as connectivity gets better, we're going to start to see more daily active users.
And what about the visuals? Computer graphics have advanced to near photorealism in recent years, and gamers who already spend a lot of time in virtual spaces have a pretty high bar. Most of these metaverses are pretty basic.
I guess I just tell myself that's part of being in early. I'm hoping it's going to get better. I have every reason to think it will get better as more people get drawn to the space, more money.
Even if unappealing visuals and low population are eventually dealt with, there's still the issue of the sheer number of worlds springing up in the metaverse, all vying for attention and investment. Investors hoping the millions of dollars flowing into the metaverse spark a big bang, and not a black hole.
Ed Ludlow is a business reporter with Bloomberg, and he joins us now from outside Facebook's headquarters in Menlo Park, California. Ed, welcome. So first of all, just explain for us what the metaverse is, and is this going to be leading to any practical changes in our lives over the coming years?
Yeah, it's a good starting point, and in practical terms is the easiest way to explain it. For Facebook, or now Meta, there are two components, a hardware component and a virtual component. Remember, Facebook acquired Oculus in 2014, the maker of the goggles, right? The headsets, augmented and virtual reality headsets, and they've been developing those and working on them for some time. Today, on Thursday, they announced a kind of high-end new version of that. And in the future, they want to couple it with a platform called Horizon. So for your audience out there that's familiar in the gaming space with the likes of Roblox or Minecraft, for example, envisage a sort of digital world where you have an avatar. You're there in Australia, I'm here in the United States. We both wear the hardware, but we share a virtual space. And going into this kind of big announcement Thursday, we thought it would really focus on gaming, but Meta's vision, the company now called Meta, is that it goes beyond that into things like e-commerce, into healthcare, fitness, where again, you're in Australia, I'm in the United States. We use common hardware, but we interact with each other virtually in this kind of shared environment with our avatars.
And so how big a deal is this? Does it sound like this is going to be the revolution that some people say it is, or are there others sceptical about how much of a change this will be to our lives?
Yeah, the ambition is great, but the timeline, the horizon is long. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook's founder and CEO, now Meta's CEO, was pretty transparent that it will be nearer to the end of this decade before the metaverse is something commonplace, but that he hoped by the end of the decade, its reach, he didn't say users, but he said the metaverse might reach 1 billion people. More than a third of the world's population currently uses some kind of Facebook product. So you can kind of get a sense of scale of the ambition there, but the progress will be slow. Progress has already been slow, right? I told you Oculus, the hardware side, was acquired in 2014. The building up of this is going to take a long time, and Facebook are committing tens of billions of US dollars to making it happen.
So there are many people who would be concerned about this. For example, US Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has tweeted, "This is actually like a cancer to democracy metastasizing." What are the varying assessments of the influence Facebook has had on the globe so far, and the concerns about these plans for expanding further?
Yeah, well, the Congresswoman also has 8.7 million followers on Instagram, so she doesn't like the platform, but she's an avid user of social media, including Facebook, or now Meta's products. A lot of the questions around this, particularly from the investors and Wall Street, was timing. You know, Facebook, now Meta, is going to take some getting used to, is under immense pressure because of the concerns around content moderation, about the safety of its platforms, particularly for children. We know about the whistleblower documents, the congressional scrutiny that it's received. And for many, when the idea of Facebook changing its name first came out, they felt that it was Facebook sweeping under the rug issues, a distraction to what they need to fix. But during the course of the presentation, you know, Mark Zuckerberg and other Facebook executives were pretty much at pains to point out that they're aware of these issues, they're working on them, and in their view, in Mark Zuckerberg's view, there is no good time for a Facebook to ever announce its future, but there's no time like the present. So they said they're working on them. They said the future embodiment of the metaverse will include parental controls, you know, the current user data policies that Facebook was employing, as well as privacy protection. So it's in consideration, but again, the investment community is skeptical, although the stock did rise following the announcement.
Did he address the issue of concerns about Facebook sowing division around the world rather than bringing people together?
He did, you know, he acknowledged that those concerns are there. His point was that in order for Facebook, now the company called Meta, to achieve its long-term ambition to sort of create this metaverse, he needs everyone to come along for the ride. You know, recently Facebook suffered, had its latest quarterly earnings on Monday because of changes by Apple to its iOS for privacy, right, for data tracking. And what has become so apparent from that is how reliant the company Facebook was on other big tech companies like Apple through its iOS platform, like Google with Android, because it's these things that we currently access the Facebook products through, right? And it extends to the metaverse as well. He basically said we can only build this if it's transparent, if everybody participates and it's not a Facebook or Meta only product.